learn to quit.
Okay.
To me, one of the biggest learnings in my life, professionally and personally, has been learning to come to terms when it's time to quit.
Cristina, welcome. For those who are listening, I would love for them to get to know you a little bit better. So if you don't mind, let's start with just saying your name and what you do.
Of course. Well, thank you a lot for having me here, also for the long time that we've known each other. It's really
3 long days, exactly, yeah.
Well, I'm Cristina Sancho, and currently, and it's important to say that currently, what I'm doing is I'm co-founder of Initia, which is a company that does AI agents, conversational AI agents, to manage relationships with clients and potential leads.
So as you said, that's what you're doing currently. But I know for a fact that your story or your journey has been quite long in terms of different things that you've done and so forth. So why don't we start from the beginning? I mean, this is your show, so go for it. Tell us a little bit about you.
Love it. Okay, so what can I say? Let's try to start with the common thread that I've seen now that, I have few years already, although still, you start to have perspective, you start to scroll more when they ask you for the year of birth, right?
No, the worst thing is when you start saying, like, how old are you? And it's like, I'm like 46. Oh, wait. I'm 47. No, wait. Yeah, exactly. That's
but
my
I
case.
start at 40s.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to agree on that. All the rest is just learning.
It's a warming up.
Exactly, it's the warming up. Life starts now. Yeah. So if I see my life, right, one of the things that I realize looking at it is that I've always been on technology, on different moments where technology was really it was getting into the mass adoption, right? So I started in social media in 2007 when I remember that they were jokes about what a community manager was. Like nobody understood what that was. I remember one article from El Jueves, is a humor magazine here, that there was this article saying that the community manager is just the manager of the building with a cool name.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's the janitor and these kinds of things. Exactly, yeah.
Exactly, and now it's the community manager, and I was already doing all that when there was, little understanding of what that was. It was started very much with customer support and then moving into more engagement, and that's how I started. Well, actually, my first job was consultancy. I think all of us that we got out of university, when was that?
What did you study?
I studied business administration and management. Yeah.
In where? Madrid? Madrid.
In Madrid, yeah. And then from there, consultancy, of course, like at those years, that was what you did. Really great to structure your mind as well. But then I was better off. I remember I did a video of all the 3 years project that we had done. And I did this amazing video because I had been capturing photos. I had been, all of that, all the project. And then I created this 7-minute video because people were already... They could stand 7 minutes.
7 seconds nowadays, yeah, but yeah, sure.
Exactly, 7 minutes video, and I remember the CEO of because I was working at Unisys at that time. When the video finishes, he turns and he said, "What music did you use? I love it." I was like, oh, great.
Exactly. That's all you. Yeah, okay.
But it was better. I really like that much more, and that's why I moved then to a media agency to run a vertical community. That's when I started in social media. And then I was there for, I can't remember now how many years, 2 or 3 years, I can't remember now. But then I started to say, okay, social media, B2C, I was B2B that was there. I wanted to do B2C. So I moved to Amazon. And then, which is where when Amazon had just bought this outlet called Buy VIP.
But you moved to Amazon actually in Seattle.
No,
you started here
in Madrid.
You started in Madrid.
I started in Madrid.
Okay.
With all, managing the social media, and wow, it was fun to manage all the social media in an outlet as well, because he was owned by VIP, which then became Amazon Fashion. Later. It was transformed into that. And that's when a little bit, I think, over 2 years on the job, I started like, I wanna go to the US, because here we get we get all the strategy from the US. I wanna go there. And me being myself, yes, I met the guy that was running social media, and then I moved to Seattle. Had I ever lived in Seattle? Never in my life. I didn't, and it was, wow, it was a shock.
Yeah. How much did you know about Seattle back in those days? I mean, come on, we're talking. Yeah.
Nothing, like really nothing, because this was 2013 when I moved there. And I knew very little. Of course, here there wasn't Black Friday, there wasn't Cyber Monday. There was, like, to me, it was a shock also because Seattle is closer to Asia than to Europe. And I could totally notice that with the culture thing. It was super cool. I remember I arrived, like you've seen me, right? How I arrived there, hi, and I started, like, two kisses over the hand, and the people were like freaking out.
I was like, who let this person in here?
Exactly. But it's curious because of that, the lack of sun as well. And that started to really, how do you say?
You started to fit in more to the community there, maybe, draining your energy.
It drained my energy and the long hours that I worked there, because Amazon was a really hard culture. This was the time when there were articles on the Wall Street Journal, I remember, like calling Amazon the bruising workplace. And it was a hard time there, and also in the campus, because this was in Seattle, is where the headquarters was there, and as we call it, like the Jeff Bezos shadow, we could definitely feel it. And this was pre his divorce and all of that. Like it was really, and you could feel it because our managers met with him, had meetings with him.
Yeah.
So
what was your role exactly there? What's the title?
Social media. I was the head of social media, the global team.
Okay.
There. So all the strategy that came, I was managing, working with the 32 categories of product.
Okay.
To promote them on the Amazon.com social channels.
Mm-hmm.
And then across that, and then working with the global social media team, we saw everything that we learned from social media, how we put it out there. But it was interesting because Amazon had this vision of it was under what it was called traffic, like the traffic department. So everything had to be measured. Amazon it evolved over time.
Yeah.
But what couldn't be measured didn't exist.
Exactly.
But I will say that despite being super hard, the culture there, it was a great teacher. Mm-hmm. On that, because I learned the importance of writing. One of the things that since I work there, I can't stand is when people start, this initiative worked amazingly well. Mm. Define amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's because there was no adjectives were allowed. You had to put like this perform 3% above the, versus whatever. So you had to be extremely precise on the language that you use, which taken to the extreme.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Taken to the extreme is very hard. But I remember the first time that I got into the monthly business reviews, and then we had all written our part on the document. It's a document there. It depending on what you're talking about, the topic. There's the 1-pager, 3-pager, or 7-pager.
Okay.
That you write, so that, and it has rules on how it has to be written. And then when you got into that meeting, you have all the pile of paper. I don't know if that has changed now, but had the pile of paper. Each person on the meeting would get the paper, and for 45 minutes, everyone was completely quiet, reading. And we were all just hoping that, because of course there was a VP there, hoping that the pen didn't pass when he was writing or taking note, didn't pass to any of our paragraphs. Because he was, so that, we used to say that.
Like, okay, he's reading my paper now.
Exactly. So you were looking, and then questions started, and that it was very, very strong. But at the same time, you learn a lot that you can then suavizando,
yeah, exactly, smooth it out.
Smoothing it a little bit. You can. It's good things to learn. But on a daily basis, it was you really had to know how to do that. We had this, we created like these things about read the wiki, because you had to write everything. So that anyone, like if you replace, anyone can come, read the wiki, literally, and just know what you were doing, all of that. So yeah, but really great experience, learning experience on that, but really hard at the same time. So away from my family, the cultural and like the Seattle freeze that they call it, which is as well, is like it's not the most welcoming place, rain, and this hard work.
Exactly, and the hard work, because you were probably working long hours, I take it.
Yeah, from 8 to... You remember the first devices that control the jawbone was called jawbone, was the first bracelet to control your dream and your steps.
Yeah, exactly.
And that there was
heart rates and
the heart rates are not the first ones.
Yeah.
They were called the jawbone. I remember once getting a notification from that bracelet saying you're sleeping too few hours. You should get it. Those were the first ones to come out.
It was the first wake-up call. It's like, hey,
You should be doing something. So that adventure finished.
How long time were you there?
I was a year and a half.
Okay.
More or less. Yeah, it was nearly a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then finished due to many reasons. And that it's, you know what, I'm gonna go back. My idea was to enter through Seattle and then end up in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out that way, so I came back to Madrid. And then there, I started working on another media agency. And I think 6 months into the job, I was on a Facebook workshop.
Okay.
And then I get a LinkedIn message from someone at Netflix.
Okay.
And to me, Netflix had been the place what had saved my life in Seattle. I watch all Gossip Girl. Don't judge me.
I'm not. Don't worry.
It was Gossip Girl what really saved my
your mental well-being. Yeah.
I arrived home and Netflix was the one that, and it was in Europe, and there, in Europe, yes, but not in all of the territories. Long story short, I was back from Seattle on a July. I promised myself I would never work on anything that was above Madrid, and I moved to Amsterdam the next May. Of course.
That's what you do.
Exactly.
But obviously, I mean, let's be honest, Netflix calls, then it makes sense for you to listen. Yeah,
exactly. It was super exciting. I was also very... because these places, and I talk a lot about culture and leadership, because I think this is one of the things that has really shaped how I see... how I think about leadership, because I've learned a lot from the good, because I've had great managers, and also from the bad. And you really see the talent, because you're the same person, you have the same talent, the same amount of that you want to put into the work. But depending on the type of leadership that you have, you can thrive, or you can be completely destroyed.
Do you believe, like I do, that we always talk about how much parents obviously affect your personality, your upbringing, in general, friends mark your personality. But one element that I don't think we talk about enough, but I think managers, leaders really do mold your personality and your life in general as well.
Yeah.
But very much.
I completely agree, and that's part of my mission as well, because we have role models. When you start working, you look at the role models around, and when you are starting and you are naive, because we all are, I didn't know I was allowed to say no.
Yeah.
I remember, like at Amazon, when I was there, I remember thinking, if my manager is telling me that I should be doing all these things, how he wants me to do all these things, it's because he knows, he has a good criteria, and he must think, this, I'm capable. So you're constantly questioning your own value.
Yeah.
And what you don't realize is that you're having a horrible manager that has no idea on what the job is about, has no idea what he's asking for. Probably his ego, is working. And you're there questioning yourself instead of really understanding that, hey, no, this is, I have to put a limit. It's also my job to help my leaders understand what this is about. But they also have to be ready to listen.
Exactly.
So
which doesn't always happen.
Doesn't always happen. And that takes me, because on the I was talking about, we'll get on my mission afterwards, because then Netflix, when I was about to join, I read the culture deck. And at that point...
How long was it?
This was 2015.
Yeah, but how many pages do you think that you read the culture deck, right? You rolled the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, I don't know, over 100 slides. It's on internet. It's one of the most famous, at that time on 2015, it was one of the most famous documents in Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Because it was it was a horrible deck, but the messages that it had there. So I remember going through it and thinking, this could feel like Amazon. Because Amazon also had these principles. And I remember, there's two principles of Amazon that really bad understood are terrible, because it's leaders are right a lot and disagree and commit.
Okay.
So that used badly is like, I'm your boss.
Exactly.
Thank you for disagreeing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right? On that, which shouldn't be that the case. But I mean, it's a lot of hundreds of thousands of employees that is difficult to control, right? And then I moved into Netflix, and I could see from the interviews, had 11 interviews, and I could see this feels different. These people feel happy. These people seemed, exciting. And it was also a super exciting time, because there were less than 40. I think we were 20-something people in the Amsterdam office.
Okay.
The CFO had moved there to be there. And I remember my first day. So the only time that I saw Jeff Bezos was on the campus, surrounded by bodyguards.
Yeah, of course.
He was working there. And then when I joined Netflix, my first day at Netflix was in LA, because there was an onboarding thing with agencies and that, and then it was in LA. And I remember having coffee there and saying hi to someone. Oh yeah, you're moving to Amsterdam. How lucky! I'm like, yeah, I think I'll miss the sun, but anyway, I'm close to Madrid, and that okay, I'd love to. And then we get into the room, and then this super nice guy goes into the stage. And he's like, hi, Ruth Hastings. I'm the CEO of Netflix. Even if you put a picture of him next to me, I would have never believed that guy would be having coffee with us, right?
Amazing, right? A little bit different.
He didn't have any office. He didn't. He was just hanging around there. Yeah, I think he was a great CEO. I really like his approach, and he always tells his story about the mistake that he made with how the culture actually was born, which is from the. When they split it into the DVD, they divided the DVD business with Netflix, Quickster, and then they nearly the shares crashed and all that. And that's when he said to his team, "Is like, look, the fact that I never made a mistake before doesn't mean that you're here because I have blind angles.
Exactly.
So you're here to tell me which are those blind angles." And that was the culture at that moment of feedback. Of really, you had to have a fuck up list on the things that you had. It's like because the mantra was if you don't make any mistake, you haven't pushed hard enough.
I like that one. Okay. I'll stick with that one. No,
exactly. And we used to have, because we were on the social media and the marketing side, we always said if you are not nervous shipping this campaign, or putting up that post, you're not pushing hard enough. Because what's the biggest risk that you can come, honestly, that someone gets angry because you posted or you said something, right? When you're the new player, you can allow yourself that. When you become systemic, it's that.
Yeah, then we got a problem.
Exactly, which is what this is now. It's more like it's part of the system. It's part now. It's a bigger. It produces a lot in territory. So what we were allowed to do at the beginning is not something that probably and we didn't care if someone would get angry or not. The first thing that we did when I arrived, there was this debate. I don't know if you remember. This was 2015. It was the debate between the four candidates. It was Pablo Iglesias, Rajoy was, and there was Soraya, and there was these four candidates, and we got the account of Frank Underwood. From House of Cards, commenting on the debate. It went nuts. He was like, this is how Netflix arrives to Spain, and all that. We had so much fun. And it was nice because of that.
Sounds kind of different to what you had experienced before.
Completely.
By the way, your role in Amsterdam, what was it?
I was marketing in the marketing team for Southern Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is two lives. I had a life at marketing. So we started at the beginning. It was Southern Europe, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. France was with in other territories, and then we grew the teams on each. I mean, we went from 0 to millions, right, in these territories, and it was the culture of experimentation, the culture of failing, of making a lot of mistakes, and those. That way we could learn which was the real limit. We
Okay.
didn't limit ourselves. It was more like okay, probably this was
We
too
went too
much.
far on this one, or like, yeah.
And that was completely fine. And there's so many stories about that I love, and it was a great environment because there I felt that I could be myself, that I could definitely, like you could try things. The work process was forbidden. It's like there's no processes. We lived on the chaos. Completely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that must have been a complete contrast to Amazon. Where I could imagine there must have been so many standards and procedures, and yeah.
You had, for example, in Amazon, the legal team was king. Like they were the ones like really marking. And here the legal team was someone that is like, they help you on what you wanted to do. Or if you wanted to do something, they will tell you these are the risks. But
That's it.
Because there was this concept around being the informed captain. How we used to say, which is you are the responsible, like each one of us on our own roles, we are like mini entrepreneurs, right? So you are responsible for making the decisions and you will be credited or discredited because of your decisions. But it is your duty to get all the context to make the best decision.
Yeah.
So you have to know how your decision is going to affect the rest of the people, and for that, of course, you have to have a culture where you can talk to each other honestly, you can give feedback to each other, you are cool with failing, you respect others' decisions. It's like, okay, you go, I'll support you on this, but it's your decision, but just know that this may have this impact on me. And then, but each one of us, we were treated like adults.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not that obvious. And that's how it really how you see the how different it was to work for us with us as well on Netflix, and that's how it grew so much. And then fast forward, we opened also the studios in Madrid.
Okay.
And then after nearly 4 years, I was okay. This is great, awesome, but you give me the series finished, and I want to know how the series are done, really, from really knowing from the other side. And then I moved to the content team, and then from script to screen, I was seeing everything from a few shows that we were doing from Spain.
Okay, so you were involved in the creation of the Spanish production shows, the series that were coming afterwards.
Exactly.
Oh, really cool.
It was very cool.
Different.
Yeah. Very different. And I'm an action person. So to me, what I enjoyed the most was being in production, talking with producers, with the actors, with all of that. What I struggled the most was sitting down and reading the scripts and having to think also, what notes do I give? Because also hadn't studied, that I don't know how to give notes to a creator, honestly.
But you did.
But I did. Yeah, exactly. I did as much, but being super honest. Like I didn't lie anyone here, right? Everybody knew my background. But it's incredible. And this is when we come again to the leadership and to the culture. Same company changes the leadership, and your experience in that company changes absolutely. Which is what happened.
Even within the creation part, the content,
That's exactly what, like the gap between the marketing organization and the content organization, it was huge. And only when I got there is when I realized that.
Okay.
And that's when you see, the type of leadership when there's, it's the egos, is the lack of being open to new perspectives, being open to questions that probably no one asked you before, or it's honest curiosity about things. And then you start to realize that it's like, okay, this is becoming like a different, and you also look at the because I had a phase of being in love with the company.
Yeah.
And then you start to see things, and it's like, okay, in the end, this is a company, and it evolves. And you see how companies, also their cultures and the leadership starts to move and to change.
Do you think it's because of the growth that Netflix had basically in Spain and in Europe in general? Or is it because of the change in management itself?
Well, there were different things. This is a good question, because in the end, if people are hired and you start to see these changes and you bring them up and you see that nothing happens, there's definitely a change in the direction. It's true that there was a lot of C-level changes as well. So you could see a lot of exits from the original group that we were at the beginning. There were very few left after 7 years, 6-7 years. There was like a completely turnover on that, which is fine, because you also have to know where do you thrive the most.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's people that are starters, that they start the things. There's people that grow those things, and there's one that sustain them.
Yeah.
I'm probably on the start growth part, and I'm not good at sustaining. And I came to terms with that, which is fine.
As we do with many things throughout the years, exactly. Yeah, we start to learn ourselves and know who we are, what we do, what we're good at, what we're bad at. And then obviously you can start to know where you fit.
Exactly. And it's knowing yourself and knowing that it's and learning to validate, because there's also one thing there. Of course, when you're working in this type of company and you have that surname, I use because it's a temporary surname, but one of the things that tends to happen, and this, fortunately, I was aware of this, is that you tend to think that you are the position that you have.
Yeah.
And when that position is removed,
you're empty.
Exactly. Which is part of what I was like my mission, because of course I experienced this and many other things as well on my professional and personal life, is I realized that it's so important to know yourself, to align with your values, and to validate yourself, like make your values be your compass for decisions, despite whatever the rest of the world says. Even if you have this amazing recognition, even if you have that, you are not that position. You are yourself. But who we are,
exactly,
that's the question that we sometimes just don't ask, because we don't allow ourselves. So it's cool to sometimes say, you know what, not for me anymore.
So you realized that it wasn't for you anymore. What did you do afterwards?
So I started, it was not hard to make that assumption.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it like in a sentence, but I could imagine.
Yeah, because it's a process, it's an internal process as well, because it's like breaking up, right? It's like in a sense, if you've been super in love with your job and your company.
And for so long time, and you've seen it grow.
You've grown as well.
Exactly, and you feel like partly responsible for that growth and that evolution, and you are part of a company where it is right now. So obviously to see that all of a sudden I was like, you know what, it's maybe my time is over. Yeah,
completely. But then so then I moved. So we went social network, e-commerce, video on demand, and then what comes next? Blockchain. So then
okay. No, exactly. Yeah, of course. That's what you do. Yeah,
of course. That's what you do. Because I'm not an industry. Like I don't stay in an industry. Since I changed. So I started to look into blockchain, and then there was this blockchain that had bought and acquired a social network. Because of course the reasoning was, okay, I have this blockchain. I need users. I buy myself a social network and works.
Done. Yeah.
Not really. Doesn't work that way. So it was one of the biggest social networks in LATAM. I don't know if there's any people from LATAM listening to this. It was Taringa. Taringa was huge in
Argentinian. Was it
yes,
Taringa?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Taringa.net. Huge in the 2010s, 2013, 14. It was huge. We're talking about 70 million users. At that time, it was face-to-face to Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nice.
No pun intended.
No, not intended, true. And then, but it was acquired. So it was, and this is interesting because that's when I was leading the full team. It was nearly 50 people, all the areas, right? Product, technology. And the first day that I joined,
So you were CEO there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And my weakest part was the tech part. And the day that I joined, they tell me, by the way, the technical lead left on Friday.
Oh,
Like, okay, that's fantastic. More news.
but shouldn't, I mean, if you consider the origin of the company, it's basically tech-based.
It's
Tech-based, you have a social channel to promote it. And then all of a sudden you realize that the tech part is your weakest link.
Exactly. And it was, how do you call it, spaghetti code. I learned all these terms. I love it. I love all these terms. Technical bankruptcy, like all these things. Long story short, first of all was finding why this network needed to exist in 2021. That it was this because there was all this new wave of social networks. So why? What problem did it solve? And one of the things that we found out is that monetization for creators is really difficult, mostly the micro and nano creators. Non-macro creators, which are those that have less than 10,000 followers, right? From hundreds to 1,000, because the social networks they ask you for a lot of audience in order so you can monetize something. So what we did is we removed the likes because it's a concept that we hate as well. We didn't like it, and then we removed the likes. And what we did, we created a system where people, because of using the social network, they would earn points. And when they appreciated content, to like content, we replace the like for actually having to spend their earnings, their points, on appreciating the content. Okay. Which meant that every creator that had content appreciated from the community would get there was a bucket of money that they would get it. And they got it in stablecoins. Okay. Which it was pegged to the dollar. Okay. Which for a person in Argentina, in Venezuela, in all this thing, tell them that they are earning money
with all the inflation and the instability of volatility,
and that they have. And so what we wanted on our mission and the impact that we wanted to have, it was to help these people that had talent, that they have no credit score, no any other ways, that through your talent you can actually get some earnings with that. And we didn't promise a lot of like thousands of earnings, but a dinner, you could start with paying a dinner, you could end up paying the rent of your house. It just depends.
Exactly. And once again, on a stable coin. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Stable coin.
Yeah.
So a few things there. So it was a great challenge, because from getting a social network with that you have to change again. So for example, talking about culture, right? The first thing that I realized is that the team, because of the previous leadership, they were used to being told what to do. So they didn't think about it.
And here comes Cristina from Netflix. It was used to a complete different approach. Okay.
There were many internal jokes about this as well. Yes. Well, actually, because Taringa, Taringa was very, how do you say, like, the word in English, like witty. I saw posts of myself from the users on Taringa. Like, we ruined this woman, Spanish woman comes here. It was fun, but then on that, so change completely the way that the team work. Okay. So no one, and this is when you realize, really, people get used to being told and just do what they're told to do, but people actually don't want that.
What did you realize as soon as that people started bringing up ideas and so forth? Because maybe they were sitting on an amazing pool of talent right there, and they didn't even know it.
Exactly.
And that was the case.
Exactly, yes. Because there was only one person that I had, but that one I fired pretty soon. I don't know if that's the correct word to say it, but my English here is not good. But the first month and a half, because I realized that it wasn't a cultural fit. And he was the guy leading product. And that was a shock to everyone, because it was plan B, and there's no plan B. I just know that with this person I can't do and I can't move forward the way. So first I removed that piece, because culturally it was nothing. It was not a fit for the values that I had. And then I started people started actually to talk, to express themselves. Suddenly they started to make decisions without any fear of retaliation. Was
that the first time you were actually had the chance to implement your own culture in a company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Great point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How did that
Exactly.
feel?
It felt, well, a lot of, it felt great on one way, but on the other hand, I really had to work on myself a lot because this is a mirror and all your fears. So for example, I used to have a conflict, an issue with conflict.
Okay.
Because this is when you start, right, on your therapy, and then you start to go back, and then it's being raised up. It was great education, but conflict. I couldn't create conflict because it wasn't well received. And that then I developed to think of I have to be someone that always balances everyone and no one is angry, and I can. So in a way, you become a people pleaser without realizing that, but it's of course because you are avoiding the conflict.
Yeah.
So if someone has to shut its mouth, it would be me. So that there would be. When you are leading a company, you have to make decisions to move people. You have to go.
You're not going to be able to please everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I had to work a lot on that myself to be able to develop all those leadership skills. So I got myself like a proper leadership coach as well to work on that, on making decisions, on focusing my time as well, like what was important, because I'm also a people person. Like I love to know the people that work with me because I bet on people as well. And then it's a knowing what are the dreams, what are their skills, what are that. I try to make the best of what people bring, right? Of the people that you have there. But sometimes you also have to be.
Because
it's a balance.
Yeah, because if you position yourself being too approachable, too I don't know, pleasing, then obviously human nature sometimes will put people to push those limits a little bit.
Yeah, which is not, I don't think is the case. And here, by what I've known you as well, I would love also to understand how you see it, because in my case, I understood it's like, look, I'm an approachable person. I'm on a regular, if there's no issues, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be, happy as I am, extrovert. They used to call me the golden retriever because I was, But it's true that same as that, I can also have a smile, and that smile also bites sometimes, right? It's like, but I only use that when it's needed.
Yeah.
If not, I'm more of motivating people, inspiring people, and that which doesn't mean that when things need to, or decisions need to be taken, I take them.
Yeah.
So it's a balance, right? There that you have to keep on that. So that was, and it was trial and error. Right?
Of course.
You see, and then you sometimes give. But I used to, one of the things that I always had was transparency. And because what I told you is we built all this, and then there was a change of a CEO. And then this new CEO wanted to close this project. And this is, things happened, right? These things happen. We were given, the opportunity to raise money. We did bring investors to the table, but they didn't sit down to negotiate. So I went from building, a phase of building, and all of us seeing how we were growing, because we were growing double digit every week. It was fantastic. And we're talking about 50,000 creators monetizing and 250,000 people on the network.
Wow.
In 3 or 4 months. It was going really well. Yeah. But no one understands why, but it doesn't matter. Business decisions, they decide to close it.
Okay.
And when you ask me about the team, well, the team, the last day, no one could disconnect from the goodbye call. Everybody stayed until the very last day. We closed it, and the moment that I started to realize that there was a chance we could close, I started to let people be aware of that.
Okay, so you didn't wait until
And I was advised from the HR people, and that is like, you don't say anything on that. And me, as soon as I knew, is, look, I'm going to tell you something. There's a possibility that this is the situation that we are in, without giving details, because in the end you want to keep them motivated, right? To keep doing the great stuff. But at the same time, and my sentence always was, do what's best for your life. This is a job.
Yeah.
So from that, whoever wants to keep staying, we're going to fight until the very end. but I want you to know this. And I started to see, for example, and this is where you see, like where you have to manage very well these things, which is on the one hand, people were extremely grateful to know this situation. And most of them chose to stay until the very end, but they would also start looking for something outside, which gave that. But on the other hand, I started, for example, to capture on Slack some memes, some things when I was on the other side negotiating. All that. So, and it's those things that you have to cut completely and not allow anything. And it's, guys, you don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a business decision. If you want to talk about it, you go, you do it on a coffee or whatever, not on the official channels of the company. So because human. But we did have, but I'll tell you that the very end, the last day, we did have a meme session.
Then you did go all the way. Yeah, exactly.
All the way. The human part, right? Is you keep it professional until it's okay. Now it's moment. You can release all the pain, right, that you have. And it was good to see that as well, that because it was not easy. So and
it was your team.
It was my team.
Yeah, exactly.
That I defended. And I think there's a moment, and this is the decisions I also learned, because we tend to focus on a situation that we don't want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I don't want this to be closed. I don't want this to be closed. So you don't even consider the scenario of closing.
Because something negative brings you negative vibes.
So you're so focused on that you cannot see anything else because you're focused on not closing. I remember one day because I was living in Porto at that time. There's a co-working, a really nice co-working as well on the beach. And I remember finishing that day and with the last MOU that they put me on the table, and I went making all my calculations, and I was like, I remember saying, if we close now, all this money can be employed to properly give, everyone severance packages.
Yeah.
Severance packages. We pay all our providers, suppliers. We close. We have time to close properly that. We make a communications to the users that. It's like, okay, so sometimes asking what is really the worst thing of this scenario that I fear so much, because fear is in the abstract.
Yeah.
It's not on the concrete.
I think it could be what we were talking about before, when somebody takes out that part that's been your DNA for that X amount of time that you've been there. So they're taking that part out. I mean, Taringa at some point was part of who you are. So was that the fear that you were facing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that no one that has a team and has is leaving a team and a company, no one wants to say, oh yeah, I'd consider the scenario of closing and I'm so cool with that because this is the plan. No, it's something that you want it not to happen.
Exactly.
But the moment that you say, okay, what's actually the worst thing that can happen? That everybody goes with a good severance package, that you have time to warn them, that you close properly the users. I mean, they will go to another net. It doesn't change their lives, right? It was a beautiful mission that we had. We were impacting people. That's the sad part. But come on.
It's life.
It's life.
Yeah.
It's life. And when you come to terms with that, that's when it shifts. And even my way of being present on the meetings changed completely. Because it's not the same to be on meetings with like more having this, please don't close, than okay, we're closing.
Okay, option A is fine. Option B is fine as well.
Exactly. Option A, option B, whichever you choose, this is what you do. And it's like, we're going to honor people's contract. We're going to do this, right? And the strength that you gain because it's cool. But this applies to everything in your life, right? Like things that you know this can't finish. Okay, put in the worst case scenario.
Yeah. And it's normally not that tragic anyway.
Exactly.
First of all, probably will not happen to that extreme.
Exactly.
And then, even if it does happen, hey.
If it does happen, it would have been much worse to get, to try to continue and then see ourselves from 1 month to another not being able to pay our people.
Exactly.
When we had the opportunity to think a little bit forward.
Okay.
A little bit before this.
What happened then? So obviously, then closed. Everybody was, I was going to say happy. Obviously not. No, but obviously, finished in a good terms.
Finished
Say it that way.
in good terms. And then I realized that I didn't want to go back to the corporate world. I was okay. It's time. And personal life as well was a lot of changes as well, a lot of decisions that I made on that life, which led me to really make a lot of introspection on what I really wanted to do. That's why I talk a lot about knowing yourself and that. And to me, I literally draw a compass with my values. So, and I know which are mine. And there's questions, for example, that I make myself. I started to think about what I wanted to do. And one of the first questions is does this make me more free or not? Because I don't want to be in places that cut my freedom.
Okay.
Right. And then the definition of freedom is mine, of course.
Of course,
what I define as free. And that's when I realized that I wanted to to start something. But not on my own, fortunately, because the CTO of Taringa that I had hired, of course, I mean, in these situations, you know people very well. Because you're seeing someone that is, okay, we grew and we close. And you see the values, you see how we operated, how we did the things, like all those things. And it's, I mean, with a person that I close a company, I can probably do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Do something great. And the skills are also, like the match of skills is great because you see my background and his technical background for many years with also business understanding. So we thought, okay, what do we do? And then it starts, this was about a year, more or less, a little bit more than a year ago.
At this point, were you still convinced that Porto was the place for you? Or were you already...
Oh, I see where you're...
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. No, there was after... I always knew that it was going to be temporary.
Okay.
I don't know what Portugal has, but there's a lot of people that I met there that they were on a moment of change in their lives.
No.
Yeah, it's curious. Like people there, when you start sharing the personal stories, everybody is like in a moment on the life that is pause. And then it seems like Portugal is a place to
Maybe it's got some kind of cathartic kind of vibe or something like that.
Something like that, exactly. And then by September or something, I started to say, okay, time to go back to Spain. And then I decided, looked at the map and I was, okay, the area of Málaga, and I saw the part that is going. I was also here many times. Madrid has two places for beach, or Valencia or Andalusia.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was more on the Andalusia one. And then, so I started looking, and the people here as well, when you start to think about things, I want people that are happy, that are, it's like...
People that inspire, people that will give you that smile when you pass by them. Just that lifts the spirits quite a lot.
Completely. And then I was looking for an international environment as well, because you've seen my evolution. Like I cannot go back to working not in an international environment. So I chose Málaga, and I moved to Málaga in December. Okay, and then I established, because I wanted to look also for what I call my base camp, because I've always been rented, and finally I wanted to find a place to settle. And it's close here to Marbella, and then I started to move closer to Marbella, which is how I arrived here.
But you came already with the new project almost, finished.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So after our experience, our first idea, this is, when you start to do your things, and this is important because the fact of keeping adaptable and not attaching to your ideas, it's so important, because it's finding like a purpose. And we were talking about this yesterday, but when you find a purpose, there's many ways to serve that purpose, right? And then, so our first idea was, we're going to help, and look at this, we're going to help blockchain startups reach product market fit. That was our first idea, because of course just coming out of blockchain.
Okay, yeah, because I was just thinking, because obviously I know where you are now, what you're working on, but I simply can't see the relationship between what you just mentioned and where you are now.
Exactly.
So
Completely, because it's these ideas, because just coming there is like, we want to help this sector, we're going to do, and you start doing things, and we did a few things, but then you start evolving yourself, and you realize, okay, what does actually, can we live out of this? There's actually a market for this, who's serving that? And then we evolved and find, because this year, AI technology evolved, and with the agency evolved so much, Johan, my co-founder, he started digging into that. And that's when he basically was disappeared for a full week. And he came out of that week with the first agent saying like, hey, I've created this agent that is able to book appointments directly through WhatsApp. And I'm going to go, let's go and sell it to the first, people that need it here so that people could interact with it. And that's why, because we've always been about technology, right? And then also like trying to impact people in a way. Because to me, my personal mission is to allow, and I think it's from the conversation is going to be pretty obvious, but is to encourage people to live aligned to themselves, to know themselves, to know their values, and allow, no matter what the world tells you, really know themselves. And I'm an example, right, of that. I've done it myself, and it's not an easy path. And then it's curiously, and you say, okay, how do you do that with Initia, which is our agents? Well, if we free up time from repetitive tasks, right, as this one does, you give people more time to do more meaningful job. So if instead of having to be doing the invoicing yourself, or instead of having to answer 7 times, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password? Sorry, please. You remove that from people. Or I, for example, suffer when I see my hairdresser. He's getting sorry, and he has to go get the phone.
The phone, yeah.
And he needs to answer the phone, because if not, he doesn't get the booking. So if you're able to give that time back for people to focus more, probably my optimistic way or what I want to, because there's more things I will be doing, is for people to ask these questions and to start. And there's more authenticity, well understood, right, from people living from the values.
I think the beauty of that vision is maybe if you get rid of the monotonous tasks and duties and these kind of activities that just take time out of you, it's not so much, one of the benefits obviously is going to be the time that you save. But I think especially it's the interruptions or not losing focus on what makes you good at what you are. For instance, maybe this hairdresser is great cutting hair and that's why you want him to be instead of answering the phone. Maybe he's not good at answering the phone. Maybe he doesn't have the skills to do it properly, but then he's going to do what he's actually good at. And then obviously that is a small example. But then I think especially when it comes to managerial positions, I think we are maybe less now, but if you lead a team, you need a quiet moment just to think. I still remember my human resources manager at the Dorchester back in the day. And once in a while, you would just see him sitting in his office like this. And then you would think, obviously, everybody around like, he doesn't do anything. Look at this guy. Come on. Here we are working our asses off. And he's just sitting there looking at the wall. But then he will come out as like, Christian, I take approximately 2 breaks of 20 minutes each day where I just sit and think. That's all I do. The phone is off. I just sit there and think. And obviously I was very young back in those days, but it's like you think, okay, wow, cool. Yeah, really cool thing. But then obviously as you evolve and you get into those positions, like how healthy would that be to actually have time just to sit down, think on your processes, think on what's happened in the day, what's happening in the week, and so forth, just having that focus. And I think your tool, what we're talking about, will maybe be the equivalent of giving the time to do that. And you will really see the impact of doing those 2 things.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I loved about your concept. So, but yeah, sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. No, because that's exactly it's allowing people to think, because I think what you say is like we don't, and it's not about busy work. Like no, we don't want. That's what we want to remove, the busy work, and really allow people to, and it's more time as you were saying, but it's also more meaningful job as well, because we can now be great. That's when people ask about, but AI will remove, right, jobs. Or when someone tells me, because I've got some leads on the phone, and they were like, oh yeah, this way I can get rid of my department. I'm like, this is not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is to free the teams up from these tasks so that they can focus on this.
Oh, maybe imagine, as you said, like when you came to Taringa, you've got a great team. you're using them for something, maybe in this case, this example, not meaningful at all. And then all of a sudden you get rid of through automation or your tool, for instance, and all of a sudden you're sitting on a pool of talent right there that maybe they would be amazing, that you can actually maybe get feedback from them, or you can put them to work on something else who is going to make your company get better.
Exactly. And that is too, is saving time or is being able to scale. Also, sometimes, these teams are, or of course, I mean, let's not be also unrealistic here. Of course, there will be people that will be out of job if they do, but those people will also have the opportunity to look for something that could be different. Or how do they? I mean, in the end, we all have to.
Come on, let's be honest. We always been talking about this myth of the one-person unicorn coming in the future, right? Let's be honest. I mean, I think the tool will be AI applied to all the meaningless tasks that you have to do. If you've got that covered, then that stops looking like a dream of the one-person unicorn. Maybe it could actually be real.
Exactly.
With more tools like that.
With more tools like that, and really be able. That's why coming back to my mission. And my purpose is more about knowing yourself. Mm-hmm. Which is what makes you, because probably you got these jobs because you need it, and now. Also, I'm super interested in seeing how this evolves, right? Because I was listening even on the other day on a podcast of Stephen Bartlett, of he had a debate. He was talking about they were talking about a new economy would come out of this, like agents paying agents and then creating like wellness for us. We have no idea how's the. Like, I'm talking about 2015, Netflix arriving. It's been 10 years.
Look what it is now. And what it means in the life of everybody,
And it's not only Netflix, it's in these 10 years, right? We didn't have Netflix, but it's not only that, it's everything that in these 10 years has happened, all the social networks, all the...
And now it's just going to go faster. Exactly, so interesting. So, Initia, tell me a little bit more about it. You told me about the tool. What's the main differentiator? Because we've been talking about it. So obviously, everybody knows about the WhatsApp little scrolly thing that you have on the websites. But what's the main difference?
Yeah, completely. Well, first of all, if you're comparing, because usually those are bots, so few things different. Yeah, an AI agent now allows you to have a conversation, like a real conversation. The best example, if people have interacted with ChatGPT, which I'm pretty sure most of here have, it's having that kind of interaction, right? So it's intelligent, but it can perform tasks as well. So it's not only responding to questions, but it can actually schedule things. It can send payment links. It can know you, like have knowledge about you, and then send personalized offers. So it's having someone that that really knows you well. That is the main difference with a bot, because a bot is logic, and it's if you don't follow what he's been taught, like the path that is being taught, it doesn't get out of there. That is on what an agent does, the difference, which is it performs actions, and in our case, because we're focused on conversational ones, the facing the interactions with the user. Ourselves, we have focused, instead of creating more like a concept of a SaaS, which would be one for us, we have focused on creating tailor-made AI team members, we like to call it, right? So think about a team member. What would you give? So if you could have one, before it was like, let's hire an intern to do all this stuff, right? Before that we don't want to do. So it doesn't need to be an intern, and actually someone that has more experience, because you train them with your experience. But think about it this way: is what are the things that I would love to remove from my team or from myself that I'm doing, and how can I use these agents to do that? And that's why we understand as well what are the needs of the business, and then we develop it trainers. So the moment that it's live, it starts working as you want. But also, we are not only the tech people, we are also business people. Mm-hmm. So it's not only about selling the agent. It's about understanding what are the processes, what is really, and challenging the client. And we love that part as well.
Because I could imagine that the induction process must be like 80% of the process, the induction part. So it's like, when I... even when we sat down and speaking, it was like, I didn't realize how much of a need I had of it. So you just sit there, it's like, to be honest, I don't really need it much. But then you start digging, boom, 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 boom. Okay, possibilities. Oh, but if I do this, then I probably not to need to do that. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, hey, I need 20 of these.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's that part. So it's beautiful to open, and this happens. The moment that you open the possibilities, you start dreaming.
Yeah.
See, the clients start dreaming and this and this and that. But then it's also on the training part, because we start understanding the needs, and then we go deep, because we do write a document with, okay, this is the knowledge base of the agent. And it's amazing because you don't realize all the things that are in your head, but you never tell someone. Because now it's like, I love to do this, but we do that with people. My whatever, no, this team member is not doing what I want, but did you actually explain it well? And because now these agents need that logic, you actually need to go back and say, no, please tell me exactly.
And I would say that I'm probably a prime example of that. I mean, there's so much here that I've never actually transmitted outside that I get frustrated sometimes, because I mean, I want my team and everybody around me to know it and to understand it. But all of a sudden it's like, hey, you haven't communicated, it's still here. But then what you said, once you need to go through the process, that's the moment that you're putting everything out there.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the moment that you realize that, because this agent has the intelligence that you put in there.
Exactly.
So if you don't transmit that intelligence, but you expect that other people that have a completely different context than you have, completely different experience, understand what is here. So it's also a great mirror, right, for that. We love that as well. But it's really beautiful, and it's also, it helps us learn so much from different businesses, which is, I think, is one of the most beautiful parts.
Because I mean, that you do really get into the engine room of each business when you talk with them. So you probably learning quite a lot in the process.
Learning so much.
So right now it's you, and you said Johan, your CTO, right? So it's a small team of 2.
No, we're 4.
We're 4. Okay.
We're 4 actually.
Okay.
We have more on the dev side as well. But we see. I'm scouting already, because I do see that this is.
How do you see that people are when you're pitching the concept? I know my reaction, but I mean, how do you feel how people are reacting to it?
It's very fun. So I get different reactions. First one is different ones. Some are, we're going to hell.
Yeah.
Because we're losing everything that makes us human, and I know, and no. So first one is rejection, complete rejection, because they don't. I mean, I get the point of you're interacting with a robot, not with a human. But the thing is that the way to think about it is, I know they're actually going to interact with me on the moment that I add more value to them.
Exactly.
So for example, think a hairdresser. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll put that example.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like people are going to go, more people are going to go to your hairdresser. You're going to cut the hair amazingly well.
And you're not going to be distracted by answering the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is, we put that example, right, on that part. Then the other one, so with those ones for now, it's, the tsunami is going to come anyway. So, it's like, I would like, everyone is doing the job for me on that. It's like, I don't need to go and convince them.
Exactly, yeah.
And then there's the others that are already looking for a solution, or that they implemented the first automation on WhatsApp, and they're not aware there's more, that there's this evolution, or they are already looking, they try something and they realize that, it's not that easy. Because one thing is to get, I don't know, a tool like one of those drag and drop things and do something for yourself. Another thing is to actually implement it for your business, where you need a database, you need a proper development for that. And that's nice. Those are the sweet spot that they are the ones that already looked into that, or know they have the problem.
And it's something that I find really interesting as well, because I found myself in that situation as well. I think you made the really good call of focusing on WhatsApp. Mainly because, I mean, it is, especially here, it is the communication tool. Like if you go to Scandinavia, no, very seldom people have WhatsApp, but they will.
Telegram is also very possible to do.
Yeah, exactly. But they normally do the communication through SMS or through the Facebook chat.
Oh yeah. Which side note we can also do.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. We have any communication channel.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Initia. Yeah, there you go. But then what I loved about it is obviously the fact that you can do that. But then even myself, I find myself in the struggle that with my community, sometimes I've had problems or feedback that we need to improve the way we communicate. It's like, although we do put a lot of effort into different channels and so forth, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to go into the channel that you consider appropriate. People are going to use the same apps that they use normally. So it's a matter of being present there. You're never going to be able to re-educate everybody to use your app just to be in touch with you. It just doesn't make any sense.
And I may I say something I love it's 2025 that you say that.
Yeah.
Because this is something that, it's been super clear like for years.
Yeah, exactly,
but your user focus is true. It's like you have to be where the people are.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And you cannot, also because there's such a saturation of apps.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Anytime that you are and someone tells, to book, can you please download our app? And it's like,
shit, yeah.
come on. And I have to, and when you have to register, that's
that is the nemesis right there.
Exactly. That's the worst on that. But it's interesting. It's a good moment, and to me, what really moves me is the impact, right? Like one of the clients told us is I cannot go back. That's
the kind of thing you want to hear.
Exactly.
I want to know more about you. So, let's see. So obviously you came to Marbella. How are you finding it so far?
Loving it.
Yeah.
Really liking. There's
what aspects?
There's and what I'm going now. What I love is that there's different. It serves different angles of myself. Because you have, first of all, this international that I tell you, like I really, this mindset that is so diverse and international to me is key. On that, then there's these places because I love the healthy food and all. Yes, I'm the one that is matcha, acai, like all those things. Love it. But then there's also this community more, let's call it, how do I call it? Spiritual.
Okay,
or
more holistic.
More holistic.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
I like the angle, more holistic. One, which I also love. And there's a lot of events around that as well, of connecting and that. So which I'm going after this podcast. I'm going to an event on those on that area. So it really it combines a lot of things, and not because I'm here, but you know how fast I was when I came here and joined, and that. But the fact of having found a place that reminds me also a lot of the tech because tech companies invest a lot in their offices.
Yeah.
Like they make it a beautiful space as well for you to want to be there. And this that has the vibe and has the people. This was honestly, finding this was the missing piece.
Thank you for that. I mean, there's no way on earth I can say that that's not the kind of feedback you want to hear. It really is. Okay, what's future plans?
Nice question. I've learned. I'm going to tell you that now I'm starting to live at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And really trying to see what it opens. But my goal is to, of course, expand the team. I'm really excited to see the impact that Initia is starting to make and to expand the team and the clients there. So that's going to be that's one part of it. I want to have like a lot of use cases as well and see the different impact that it has. So that is on the initial part. On the part that I told you more about the personal mission, I'm also starting to train for keynote speaker.
Okay.
As well, because I'm working on the pillars of my communication. How can I turn this personal story to inspire and help others as well to connect with themselves? And that's part that I'm already working on that. So you'll see that a little bit more coming, and anything that opens. As I told you yesterday, would you be up for? Yes.
And then we'll see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
So I would like to know if you had to give some advice to somebody who's considering starting now. Let's talk about the generation who's now in a path to maybe move into university and they've got this idea that maybe they want to promote. What would be your suggestions?
Oh, nice. This is good. On the target is an interesting one. Okay. First thing that I would say is that they really, and I don't think this generation lacks of this, but just in any case, I will say that really has to be connected to what they want to do. If they have an idea that they want to pursue, what I would first say is forget about the idea and think about the impact that idea is making. Because the idea can change, but the impact can't. So it's focus on the problem or the change that you want to make, and don't attach yourself to your idea.
I love that one, because I mean, I've always got an entrepreneur or a startup can only be as good as its capacity to pivot, like to different scenarios. But that happens if you're focusing only on your solution, then you're very limited when you can pivot. But if you're focusing on the problem, then you're going to have like all the angles that you can actually turn to.
Exactly. And while some innovations are great because you really focus on a solution and then you see, where to apply it, like the technology usually, happens, the technology, but then it's thinking what's the impact right there. So, and that moment, and the moment that you are focused on the impact that you want to make, the change or the problem you're solving, then you don't mind if it's okay. It was I thought it was this idea, but then it wasn't this one is another one, which leads me to the second one, which is learn to quit.
Okay.
To me, one of the biggest learnings in my life, professionally and personally, has been learning to come to terms when it's time to quit.
Okay.
And we talked about closing the company. We talked about my time at Netflix, and we can talk about, like personal life as well. We sometimes get attached also to situations or to things that are, like that they no longer feel right, but we cannot quit.
Because we are taught a lot, go for it, continue, persevere. Then all of a sudden, like, okay, learn how to quit. Oof.
Exactly. So learning, and mostly for people that are young, and they are starting in this journey. If they start something and it doesn't work and it fails or whatever, or they change their mind because still, like they might think that they want to do this, and then suddenly they realize that they don't want to do this, and it's the other thing. Quit. It's fine.
No.
Take the experience, take the learnings. Always before after quitting, I always do. Like, okay, what did I learn from this? What are the things? Because that's another thing. Is like never get out of a situation without taking the learnings.
Exactly.
So it's think about what do I take from this? What are the learnings that I got? What do I want more of? What do I don't want? Never more of this. And because that's the way that you build for the future. They say that, right? Like, how are you going to improve tomorrow if you don't know what you did today?
Exactly.
So those are the things. So to me, it would be that thing is don't focus on the idea, focus on the impact you want to make, and learn to quit and stay true to your values. Your values are your compass. Know them very well.
Cristina, I think we've been talking for an hour and 60 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, I told you talk a lot. I told you like exactly. Yeah, you didn't believe it.
Yeah, because you did. Exactly. You this time I have to say you didn't.
No, exactly. But I've got to say, I mean, that I've been the promoter of Marbella 2.0 and so forth. One of the things that we have always been talking about, we need to create opportunities for the children and so forth. And one element in that is role models. I am very proud and happy to see people like you, a woman who has been both in the corporate, been in amazing companies, had amazing positions within these corporates as well, and now building your own things and creating. And I love, especially for Marbella, that there are people like you who bring this to the table, so you can, especially for young girls, to say like, hey, this option is there. You may choose it or not, that's fine. But you can be a woman, you can make it in this industry, and it can be a viable option for you. So I think that's something that's really inspiring. So I'm glad that people like you come here, obviously, and join the pool and be part of what we are. But for Marbella's general, I think it's great to have you here.
It's awesome. Thank you so much for the great welcome, and eager, to be part of this and to have more people joining like this and grow in this community.
Perfect.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Cristina. There we go.
Nos hemos pasado, ¿no?